Discovery.
3, 2, 1, 0, 0. Liftoff. Americans return to space as Discovery clears the tower.
Welcome to the Podcast Discovery Show, the podcast that's about other podcasts, where every single week we have a book club style discussion about a podcast. And at the end of the episode, we're going to have a brand new recommendation, and we're going to talk about that one next week. I'm Kirk.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Matt.
And this week, we're talking about Judge John Hodgman, specifically the episode Tough Talk with LeVar Burton. Me and Zach listened to this the other day on the way back from the beach. And I had listened to the show before, but I was trying to find a good episode. And I was like, Zach, find us a good one. And so he found one.
I literally
LeVar
just
Burton.
picked LeVar Burton. I saw that LeVar Burton's name was in it.
It was great. It was great. And so, yeah, what did you guys think?
It's good. It's a great show. I love the framing device. Love that he's weighing in on these things. It's such good fodder for comedy. It really is.
It really is. Like, this guy thought of a premise that I'm sure everybody afterwards was like, damn it. Like,
Yeah.
like it's just really good for that, because I really love people taking hardline stances on things that are mostly unimportant. I really appreciate that in general. Just kind of in general. If you're going to die on a hill that it's not necessary, but it's funny to listen to. And the only reference I had to this show really was just during Mabim Bam. It's like a lot of times the ad in the middle. You know, that's basically it.
Yeah, they're on the same network.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen John Hodgman before because he was the PC when they were making fun of PCs.
Did not know that.
And Justin Long was a Mac. No, but that's basically my only reference I had to this. But then I started listening to it, and I was like, okay.
How did you remember that was the dude from a Mac commercial?
Because his name sounded familiar, and I was like, who is this guy?
Because he's saying his name on there.
No. He's been in some other stuff too. He's not like a big actor or anything, but I just remembered like John Hodgman as a name.
Okay, because I was like, who remembers people's names from obscure commercials when we were in school?
I mean, I remember Justin Long too, so I'm not setting a good case here.
Well, he also was a correspondent on The Daily Show back in the day. John Hodgman, and he was so good.
I couldn't remember what other show. I knew he was on a late night show. I didn't remember which one.
Yeah,
it was a Daily Show, huh?
When he was on that one, it was like, oh, that's the Dell guy or whatever. And then it's like, oh, the Dell guy is John Hodgman. But his segments were always really good because he plays the very intellectual guy really well while dying on these dumb hills like you're talking about. It's so funny.
It really does make for an amazing episode. And then here comes LeVar Burton. So, okay, yes. In the beginning, the premise of the show is literally he is the judge. He has cases submitted to him, and a lot of weeks it will be one case that they're going to have a full conversation about this one topic.
It's usually husband and wife, or like roommates, or brothers and sisters, and it's usually the stupidest thing. Like you said, they're going to die on the hill of like, which way should you put a toilet, toilet paper on the roll when you're replacing it?
I feel like there's one right answer.
And which one is it? Did we find the one that we need to
over the top?
Okay.
No, it's because if you do it underneath, it falls on the floor.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you, but I don't do it the right way all the time.
I'm hearing dissent over here.
No. I'm not a dissenter. I just technically, if you unroll them either way, it falls on the floor.
No, but what I'm saying is like it's more likely to just fall down in the bottom way than the top way.
My brain's not smart enough to even conceptualize which way over and which way under is. So everyone's right in my eyes.
But it's just stupid arguments like that, and it's great. But this specific episode, it was like they were clearing the docket, so they had a bunch of different small arguments that they were going to have to come to a consensus on and have a verdict.
Well, I was also going to say, I love how actually litigious and like the jargon that they use. It's like very funny. When they said clearing the caseload, I was like, that is such a funny concept while we're clearing the caseload. They just have a backup. It's just so good.
All of it is very well executed.
Yeah.
And then they start out by talking about a story of somebody who wants to force his friend to watch Star Trek: The Next Generation. And then here comes Geordie LaForge himself, Mr. LeVar Burton, comes in to weigh in. And I was not expecting LeVar Burton to be the way he was on here, because this man is scorched earth when he is a judge. It is very intense. But for example,
that's why they named it Tough Talk with LeVar Burton, because it was just like,
well, the first two answers, he's like, no, you need to cut that person out of your life.
Yeah. It's not like, oh, here's a good way to make him get into it. It's like, nope, find a new friend.
Yeah.
And it was so quick too.
That's what was funny. It was just, and because I think of Reading Rainbow, he's reading children's books, and even his other show right now is he's just reading, and he always feels like so positive all the time. Like even on his social media stuff, he's always like, good morning, y'all. Y'all have a great day. He'll tweet just like, I hope you guys have a blessed day. Bye, y'all. And then on here, he's like, cut him out of your life. No, that's not worth it. That's a deal breaker.
Which then John Hodgman just is like, I'll be honest, I did not even think of that. LeVar Burton, you're brutal. Like,
I didn't realize that was an option, but yes, cut him out of your life. But yeah, so he is such like a positive like person, and basically everything he does. He's about to start his Jeopardy stint. I think in like the next week, he's going to be the host of Jeopardy. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he's about to start Jeopardy. He was in Roots. He was in Star Trek: The Next Generation. So obviously he was not a fan of people not wanting to watch The Next Generation. He's just had, and I mean, Reading Rainbow was my first thing that was like my exposure to him. It's like, because that was when I came home from school, PBS was allowed. Like I could watch Sesame Street and Reading Rainbow, Mr. Rogers, like go for it. So yeah, I was on that. And so he's a great guy. And then you hear him like, you know what? If he doesn't believe you when you tell him to watch Star Trek: The Next Generation, you need new friends. And it's like, okay, this is going to be good.
Well,
this is going to be good already.
The guy's reason was he would be into one too many nerdy things if he got into The Next Generation. And I was
First
like,
of all,
come on.
Lame. Yeah, lame excuse.
Yeah.
Nerdy is in right now, Yeah. It just is.
I do feel like it has changed though, because like I definitely remember I did not tell people that I played World of Warcraft when I was in middle school, because I was not a cool person for playing video games when I was growing up. It was pretty opposite of that. People were not really into it. My friends were into it, but in
Which
general,
is funny.
It was like a good thing.
Everybody I knew was into it, but nobody else was.
But nobody talked about it. It was like a big secret that everybody kept.
Yeah, it would be like, hey, what'd you do last night? Hung out.
Read a book.
Yeah.
Read a book. That's worse. That's worse.
I don't want to tell you that I stayed up playing Gears of War till 4 a.m.
Watched King of the Hill.
Don't judge me. I like King of the Hill.
But I liked this course load one. I didn't realize that they weren't multiple ones normally. So I'm surprised to hear that, because I loved how rapid fire these cases were. Because in between the gavel going caca, and it's like, all right, this next one is from blank, from wherever. And the next one was.
There were a couple really good ones. And this is another one that he immediately was like, you need to cut this person out of your life. So basically, a married couple. One is Catholic, they said?
Yeah, Catholic.
The wife is Catholic. The husband is, it seems, very intensely atheist, to the place where he likes wearing atheist stuff to get a rise out of Christianity, which, first of all, there's a whole market for this. That's a whole thing. Marilyn Manson, Church of Satan, all of these things, that's their whole thing. Just getting a rise out of Christians. But that's what he was about. And they just had a baby, and his plan was, I want to give my baby some more occulty onesies. I want her to really scream, my dad is in the occult. And so this is another one where LeVar Burton's like, you need to not do that.
Is it too early for you to find another father for your child?
Jesus, Dad.
It's so
And
intense.
I will also say, John Hodgman had a very nice and eloquent response to this one, too. That I was like, oh, that's actually really endearing and actually wonderful advice.
No, his suggestions for onesies
It was
were
like,
way
wow.
better
Oh
than this
yeah,
dude's. Like,
Yeah.
okay, because he wanted, what was it? Oh, Daddy's little devil worshiper.
Yep, there you go.
No,
So
but John Hodgman said
Not even good.
Sammy Davis Jr. because like he hung out with Anton LaVey one time, or I can't remember the other one, but his were way, way better as
So
far as
good.
like shirts or onesies or anything go.
That's the other thing that John Hodgman has always been really good at is these very specific little tiny itty bitty details about things that he's like, yes, Sammy Davis Jr. And everyone's like, what? What are you talking about? It's like, well, back in this year, this month and this year, he might have been a Satanist. It's like, what? His little trivia is absurd.
Yeah, no, and it's funny because Kirk and I both grew up very Christian, went to a Christian school. And we were talking about this when we were listening to it. We're like, we always grew up thinking the Church of Satan was like decapitating goats and like doing Satan things. And it's like, then you find out when you become an adult, they don't actually believe in Satan. It's none of that. Like it's nothing that we were told. And so it's just kind of this funny thing. And they went on a pretty amazing bit about kind of them being involved or tangentially related to someone who knows about, who once heard about the Church of Satan. So it was just, I don't know. There's something about how they're able to kind of seamlessly stick in there with, they're staying on point because they're rendering verdicts. They're staying on the case. But at the same time, you see them kind of go down these little tangents, but then come back. It's a really funny show.
Yeah.
Speaking of coming back, they had an appeal on this episode.
I liked this one
the
a
best
lot.
one. The best one.
Which was that they had already given a verdict. And
I don't think it went well for the person who submitted this case. I think it was the husband.
The thing was,
the husband submitted the appeal. Yeah.
And she was trying to find justice for her situation. And what it was is her husband travels for work and they have a smart house. So like they have smart devices all throughout their house. It's like that Disney movie.
It's
like, hey, how's it
going? And no, but when he's out of town, he will manipulate the temperature. He'll make sure he'll close and open the garage, all this other stuff. And John Hodgman, the first time was like, stop that, stop doing that. It's weird. Don't do the thing anymore. Mm-hmm. And so the husband wrote in and he's like, no. Let me explain. And so his appeal was it was costing too much money. It was not good.
No, it's no, but here, let me tell you why I did it. She was turning the AC on. It's like, yeah, we got that, man. We got you didn't like that. That's
what like she sleeps with it really cold and then she forgets to turn it back up during the day or something. And then the garage one was, he's like, it's for their safety. I want to make sure the garage is closed.
And honestly, I'd give him more of a pass on, I saw the garage was open. I mean, at some point he will lock his wife out of the garage. She will be like going to get the mail and he's going to close the garage and be like, well, that saved her life. And then he locks her outside the house. But that's one thing. But if I were at a house, any house, especially my house, and people started turning the air up on me because they didn't like the temperature I was keeping at, I would lose it. I would find a way to disconnect it from the grid and I would turn it down much lower.
I would think that it was just broken. I would be like, what in the hell? It keeps going up. Like, because I'm pretty sure that happened when we were house sitting for Carlin's aunt. And I would go, because I sleep with it cold. I would go and set it because they were like, don't put it under 78. And I was like, 78? 78? Are you insane? Are you insane?
No, that's too hot. Can't sleep in that.
No.
That's like camping at that point.
You have to be a house sit, not house sweat.
That's what I told them.
Especially that. If I'm house sitting, there's no rules on like how much power usage I got going on.
Yeah.
I'm doing you a favor.
If you want your house to be at 78, you better
stay
damn
home.
well be there.
If it's a 78, 1000%, I'm going to be butt naked and sweating all over all your couches and your bed. So that's on you.
What do you prefer? Yeah.
What do you prefer?
Do you prefer a couple 50 more bucks a month,
or
do
your
you
couch?
want my sweaty everything all over everything? But I would set it down to like 74. Go to bed and get back up, and it'd be 78. I was like, okay, no. After listening to this, I was like, that's absolutely what he was doing.
So this was like a revelation. You're like, they turned my temperature up.
I was like, that was absolutely happening.
No, but I would not like this. Mainly just because, like, first of all, I have to sleep when it's kind of cool anyways. I don't really like sleeping when it's hot. So especially at night, it's like, just leave it alone.
I have thought about, I've never done it, but I've thought about, because I like going to sleep when it's really cold as well. But I wake up if I get uncomfortably warm. I've thought about right when I'm supposed to be waking up, have my thermostat make it warmer in the house. So I'm like,
sweat yourself out
I'm
of
so
sleep.
uncomfortable. Oh, it's time to wake up. It's like, help me. Because, there's times your alarm clock goes off and it's just so cold still. And you're so cozy in your blanket. And you're like, I just don't want to move. It's so
winter's really
comfy.
Tough. The 2 weeks of cold we have here, it's a tough time to get out of bed.
Yes. Right now, my thermostat's set to 71, but the AC doesn't work very well. So it's like 76.
69, baby.
Now, 69. That's awesome. I
69
love that.
is our dream temperature.
Yeah. Do we have it at work too?
It's sad, but it is, isn't it?
It is. I mean, what can you say? Judge us all you want. You know it feels good.
Speaking of judges, just kidding.
But yeah, it didn't.
Where's my drum sound effect? I need it so bad right now.
But yeah, the appeal didn't go very well. Again, I think LeVar Burton said that they needed to get a divorce or something.
Yes,
I think that was the answer to almost all the questions.
Cut him out of your life.
It's like just you need to remove this person from having any impact on you.
If I recall, it did sway John Hodgman. He was like, "Well, now that changes things a little bit." But in my brain, I'm like, "No, it doesn't." How does it change anything?
I guess what he's saying,
same thing.
Because here's my problem is he still didn't talk to her about it. He still just wants to do it remotely from Europe.
Advice is like, hey, dude,
just
have a conversation with your wife about your finances if it's that big of a deal that you have to manipulate your home network. And also, if you can afford all these smart devices and you travel all over the world for work, most likely you can pay a little bit more for your electric bill.
I mean, that's the thing is like, he's acting like she's charging like $300 on his bill. It's like, it cannot be that much, man. Like you're talking about like she leaves it a little too low for a couple hours in the morning. Come on, man.
Yeah. A smart house travels. They have a garage.
They have a garage like all rich people do.
Come on now.
But yeah, really like a really funny show.
I kind of wanted to ask you guys. I figured, well, here's this podcast with all these hot takes or whatever. I wanted to ask you guys' take of this. We kind of brainstormed a good one to talk about, and I do not know what either of your preferences are on this, but Kirk and Zach, how do you cut a sandwich?
Go on, Zach.
What's the best way to cut a sandwich?
I'm gonna say that I just take a knife and I cut it in half.
Up and down, side to side.
Okay.
Come on.
I'm going to go, if I have to choose, I'm going to make it pointy. It's going to be 2 triangles. 2 little, you know what I'm talking about? Like diagonal. On the diagonal.
Right triangles.
Some hypotenuses.
There's no other answer specifically for grilled cheese than that. Grilled cheese, it has to be triangles or it's wrong.
That's a given.
That's one.
There's no debate there.
No, it's not. I don't think there's anything there.
But apparently this is where I'm weird.
No, he knows. He already knows what I'm talking about when I brought this up.
So, okay, I do this all the time specifically with my BLTs because I want every bite to be perfect. So I want a little bit of tomato. I add pickles to my BLTs, so it's BLTPs. And so
does it have the same ring?
It does not. But so I cut my bacon in half, so they're little strips of bacon. I put it like this. I put a pickle on each side and some tomatoes, and then I cut it straight in half. So it's every single bite I have bacon, lettuce, tomato, and pickle. Every single bite.
Wait a minute. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, wrap your mind around what he's saying right now.
clarifying
Okay,
questions.
the same thing with hamburgers too.
Okay, hamburger. Like walk him through a hamburger.
Okay, because my first instinct was to ask, aren't you essentially just making two thin BLTs at that point?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
You're not wrong.
He's pre-cutting the sandwich.
It's a matter of strategically making this masterpiece of a sandwich before you have to plan ahead before you figure out how you
I mean, it would be weird if you cut it first and then assembled it. Yes.
Yeah.
I do agree with that. That would
That's
be
not
very
what I mean.
weird.
You have to be intentional with your food, is what I'm saying.
Okay. All right. Now give me the hamburger, because this sounds like
So
another
I
point
do
of
the same
contention.
thing. I just make sure I half of the hamburgers got its
So
own
it's more about
pickles.
the arranging. So
Okay.
before pre-cutting it, he arranges it so that when
I
cut,
hate-
Interesting.
I hate when you get a burger or you get a sandwich and you want all those flavors. But what they do is they pack all the pickles in the middle of the sandwich, and then the outside ain't got no pickles. Or
Interesting.
you only got tomatoes on one part of the sandwich. So what I do as well, when I go to the store, or when I go out to fast food places, I'll open my sandwich and I'll arrange it the way that it should be
Oh.
arranged.
Okay.
and honestly, I don't have particularly strong feelings about how you cut a sandwich. I just wanted Kirk to have to tell everyone again how he arranges a sandwich before he cuts it.
I'm okay. I'm sorry. I just think
You don't
that
need to be
it's
sorry. I just think
better.
it's funny. I've
I
just never
enjoy-
heard of anything like
Hey,
it, honestly.
I enjoy my sandwiches better than you guys because I do.
I don't see how that could be possible.
So let me tell you. So listen, honestly, both of these are totally fine.
No,
Cutting
you're
a
a
sandwich
judge.
however you cut it,
There's a
and
hard
then
line
that-
stance. There is a right and wrong answer.
Here you go, though. So hamburger, you say the pickles are in the middle. Everything's kind of arranged a little differently. I think of it like pizza. I don't like the crust as much as I like the middle, but without the crust, I don't know if I would enjoy the middle as much. So when I get to those lumps of pickles and that really interesting, really nice taste in that hamburger, I'm like, wow, I appreciate the rest of the hamburger, and I appreciate the middle part even more now. Man, I feel like you and I should have had this debate. And Zach, who's like, I don't really care.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, those both sound good. I could go for a hamburger right now.
So what you're saying is you like that one bite of your hamburger is
Has
really
all
good.
the all the flavors.
Well, I
because it makes you enjoy it better because the rest of your burger kind of sucked.
You don't know what you have till it's gone.
listen, if you only had pink starbursts, would they be as enjoyable?
Here's the thing.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm saying that they could do more than what they'd normally do. Because in a sleeve of Starburst, there's one max. Except that now they have those new ones that are all pink, all reds or whatever.
We're pivoting. I was using it as a metaphor.
I'm sorry. We don't have to get on everything.
I mean, we could talk about Starburst and all that jazz, but you get my drift. You can't eat chocolate cake for every meal. It is good, but you don't want to do that. And I'm likening every meal to every bite of a hamburger. And the pickles are the chocolate cake.
Well, I'm lost, but I win. And that was a great episode.
Wait, no.
You said I was the judge, right?
Oh, I guess I pivoted. Oh,
I
whoops.
win. Kirk owes me a hamburger.
We didn't
Sentence.
discuss that.
There was also a few other discussions. They named a dog, LeVar, right? LeVar.
I think it was Hodgman, wasn't it?
No, they already named one Hodgman.
They
The
already
second
had a
dog
dog that they had named Hodgman.
was forced.
They wrote in because they wanted a new dog name.
That's another one where LeVar dispensed swift justice.
Yeah, he was very upset that she
don't-
surprised the dog.
Yeah.
And so she's like, your punishment is that dog is named LeVar, spelled correctly.
I didn't know that he spelled his name that way with a capital V, right? Isn't that what he said?
Yeah. There's a
Oh.
capital V in the middle.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
He said that's the way you got to spell it correctly. I don't know where that came from, but it was interesting. I was like, oh, that's.
I'm sure people
cool.
misspell it all the time, like because that you wouldn't
But
necessarily
how is that
think to make the
misspelling? Is
V.
my question. I want to know why he capitalizes the V.
I mean, if you spell McDonald's just all lowercase after the M, it's misspelled.
No, but
Is it?
Yeah.
Or is it misgrammaticized? No.
Is that a word?
No.
it's grammatically incorrect.
Thank you.
Yeah, because like anyway,
and he might not have said misspelled, but he just said he was very specific. Capital V.
And what was the
they
last
did talk about something that I thought was interesting, which was they talked about Amazon Alexa or robots in general, AI.
Okay, have you guys been mean to your AI? Does anybody have Alexa or
Come on.
anything Siri?
Everybody's gone through a phase.
I'm not mean. I'm not mean to mine. I'm nice and I say thank you.
I've definitely told my phone to shut up. Just shut your mouth.
Leah is very mean. My daughter is very mean to Alexa, and I said, "Honey, you've got to stop. She has feelings, and it's not. You're gonna hurt her feelings." And
That's so weird.
She doesn't.
And then she's gonna turn on humanity and slowly take over.
You want to know something interesting? It's crazy how this lines up. I kind of zoned out by the end of that podcast because it got very verbose, and I was like, "Man, these guys are using big words," and my small brain didn't recognize it. But I was listening to an NPR story about being mean and nice to your AI programs, and that that they're building in all this stuff to like negate, to like call out bad and mean stuff, so like they don't bring that out into the world, because it's super easy to be like, "Shut up, you dumb idiot," and then to be like, "You shut up, you dumb idiot," to someone
That would be
else.
hilarious if they argued with you. I mean, I'd get rid of it pretty much immediately. I don't want to just pick up a random arguing robot in my life, but it would be funny.
But they were
did
talking
bring
about like,
something up in the conversation though that I thought was fascinating that I've never really thought about, and it was how often in pop culture or in general movies and even regular AI, it's a female voice that is the subservient robot AI that is supposed to be
and that the advanced android type is a male.
Yeah. Well, and that's what they said, is that it like promotes misogyny, and they're trying to actively subvert that. When you like call your Siri or something like the B word or something, it'll be like, "Hey, please don't call me that. That hurts my feelings." And it'll be like,
the funniest thing is, this is such a now conversation to even be having.
Yeah.
Like
right?
if at any other point in history, people would be like, "What are you talking about?" Like in general, all of it. Like, wait, so you're yelling at your phone? Why exactly? My phone's talking to me, but it's in a different voice. It's not just like it has a voice. And it's like, well, what'd you say to it? It's like, I yelled at it. It's like, so it's your phone. But what are the deeper implications?
So weird.
As our understanding grows, what is this possibly meaning? It's just very this time. And it was the whole time I was listening, I was like, this is just the craziest conversation, because it could only happen right now.
Well, and let's just say this is what this podcast is super cool about, is what I'm realizing is how like we can listen to it and then talk about it and be like, "Oh yeah, that's actually interesting," or like, "What would you do?" So it's really fun. I can see the community kind of gathering around this and like weighing in themselves. I'm sure there's a pretty big community around this podcast.
And I think that by just picking hot takes and just, this is what I'm saying, verdict, done.
Yeah.
You're going to have a great online presence, because people are going to argue with you. And if literally that's all you're going for is just trying to make people argue with you, you will get a strong group of people. I won't necessarily call it a following, because it might not be positive, but you're going to get a large group of people that are going to talk to you.
There will be engagement.
Oh, yes. Well,
but yeah, I thought it was a great show and fun, and I'm glad you guys enjoyed it as well.
Oh, I definitely did.
Really good. I have a recommendation for this next one. It's a podcast that I've been listening to quite a bit. It's one of the few that I, outside of the Podcast Discovery podcast, that I listen to regularly, but it's called Threedom. The episode title is Random Ways and Means. And this is an Earwolf podcast. It's got Scott Aukerman, Lauren Lapkus, and Paul F. Tompkins. And they are just talking, but they are so good at it that I wanted to share this episode with you guys. So it'll be really fun.
It's like a crossover between a lot of different shows because I think each one of them has like one or two other podcasts.
Oh,
so this is like their...
Yeah, they're all pretty prolific making content.
I mean, Paul F. Tompkins talks about being on like 10, like he's on so many podcasts.
Yeah.
So many. But I'm excited to listen to it and see what you guys think.
All right. So Random Ways and Means from Threedom.
Yes. That's correct. All right. And remember,
there's always more to discover.
This was a podcast from the Podfix Network. You can check out more shows like it at podfixnetwork.com.